You know what I mean? So I started working out like I used to, but even harder, 2 times a day, and listen to Dr. Serrano. He put me on supplements and stuff, and told me what to do, and then I'm researching, and then also I was a huge fan of Rich Piana. I literally followed everything that Rich Piana said. Well, besides all the some of the stuff he said, but as far as food, food and things that I've been watching his videos over and over and over again, and just trying to figure it out. And so I was going through the gym one day, and my first coach, I'll never have another coach. So my coach, Tia Thurman Robinson, she saw me walking, she saw my cast, and she said, "Hey, champ, have you ever thought about competing?" And after that, it was me and her that we did. We worked together for about 4 years. Yeah, indeed.
Well, I'm sorry about what you went through with your sis and stuff, because I can tell you the truth. That's something as a man we're never going to experience, but I can tell you my story was like about I was 39 when I had my first heart attack,
Oh wow.
and yeah, and I had a pacemaker. I had to get it because my fracture rate was really low, and it's tough when something like that happens, and it kind of maybe rethink your life. And I've talked to quite a few ladies who went through some medical issues, and that's how they got into bodybuilding, because the lifting, the working, the training, the consistency, the regiments of the sport really changes your life, the aspects of it. Like one thing with me, I'm like right now, I was at almost one point because I was taking my mom for a long time. I was almost 500 pounds,
Really?
and yeah, I'm down to like a 420 right now, because I lost a good amount of weight. I'm not going to be perfect because, there's some things out in the world, especially food. It can be tempting. You just can't, but, my talk to ladies and listen to your experience that really, I would say, inspires me to make some changes in my life to eat a little healthy, a little better. Again, not good perfect because this morning I had some coffee and a cake, so
Wait, you did
and
cake? You ate a whole cake this morning?
it's like a little sliced cake. It's like it's pre-wrapped cake. It's not like a big I can eat a whole cake, you know.
I've eaten a whole cake. No worries. I've eaten a whole cake. I've taken when I say my favorite thing is to take those already pre-made cookies and like cookie dough, and then take brownies and I smush them together, and then I bake them, and then I stuff them down my fat ass mouth. Because you know what I mean, like things like that. I like to do in the off season. But that's why I need to. It's good to compete because it makes me come back. Like okay, it's time to stop. I didn't used to have. I don't have a stop. I'm a food addict. So I have to. That's how I stop my addiction. Is this is you have to take a break, and you're going to get on stage in your underwear in front of people. So do you really want to eat that, or do you want to embarrass yourself? There you go.
Like food can be addictive. It's like a drug. It's like you ever saw the movie New Jack City with Chris Rock. It's like Pookie say, "It be calling my name, man. It be calling my name. It be calling me. It be calling me." It be calling my name, man. That stuff is it's like crack.
It
It's
is.
especially sugar. That's one of my big addictions is sugar. We have a comment. Shout to my man, Black Panther. He says this. He says, Columbus, Ohio is a beautiful place. Also, he says this. I gotta get one more time. Put on my old man glasses. Says this. He says, always take care. Wait a minute. He goes. Papa says, always take care of yourself. Your health is your wealth. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah. And okay, so what was that experience like the first time? Because you got to think about it again. You got to walk on the stage, butt naked, covered in baby oil, front of a bunch of people.
But
What was that experience like for you?
feel that, right? I didn't even get to see Diddy or nothing. And it was, it's
Take that, take that.
it's I don't know. You know what? When I was in high school, I was in a band, and that was such a great experience. I would love for us to get back together, because it's that feeling again of just I don't know of you being the center of your universe, you being proud of the work that you've done for yourself. Like everyone always asks, like, oh, the show and everything. And honestly, the show is cool and everything. But to me, the best part of the show is backstage. Because outside, the people out in the audience, they're like our friends and our family. There's fans like you know what I mean, and things like that nature. But when you're backstage, you're backstage with all the other competitors. backstage with everybody else who sat there. You, every one of us knows. And when one of them says and looks at you and says, "Oh, you look amazing," you know that you done really did something. It doesn't matter what. I mean, yeah, the judges are gonna do what they're gonna do and everything. Like I said, crowd. But when another competitor tells you that you look great, and we know what we have to do to get here. We know.
Yes,
That's
it's uplifting to get support for somebody who shares your same interests, and see your opportunities. Sometimes you're gonna have people back there too saying like, "Who's this bitch looking up and down like you're short?"
You know what? And and that's why I'm taking time now because I realized looking at the pictures from North Americans that in a certain angle, like at certain angles of the stage, when you see me, because I am so short and I'm head, it look like it's just protruding. I can see why I need to come down. I see what I need. I need to get a bit smaller. I need to be tighter. And there's no way around it. I can bitch and moan about it all I want, but the truth of the matter is the camera doesn't lie. I need to be tighter when I hit the stage, and I will be the next time.
Yeah. I had opportunity interview a couple of ladies that won their pro cards in North Americans in your division, women's bodybuilding. Nina Appleform, Nina Beans, and also Leah Jeffar. Um, both amazing ladies. I mean, Nina's going to make her pro debut in Atlanta. Haven't talked too much from Leah. I think she's probably going to take the time and grow a little bit and work on conditioning and maybe make a pro debut maybe next year or year after next. You know, it's the thing is that is about the critique of a competitor. You always feel like, what am I missing? What I got to work on? And what do you feel like? Is this taking this time off? What's the thing you feel like you have to work on the most when it comes to your physique and your look?
Just tightening up. Just I had from being heavy and losing. I've lost over like you understand. After losing over 100 pounds, it just doesn't. The skin just doesn't. You see on the shows like The Biggest Loser and stuff like that, when you have a drastic weight loss, that skin and it takes time for it to reabsorb to the body, and so just slowly. And you can't do it fast, and that's what happened. Is the first time when I was losing weight, I was doing all types of shit. I would not eat. I would not eat anything all day and I would work out like two, three times, and then I would go to Waffle House and I would get an omelet. That made no appearance, right? That made no sense, right? It was absolutely insane. I don't know what. So doing stuff like that made the skin, and so it made more loose skin. So my plan is just to this year, just to slowly reduce calories, slowly keep it a nice steady, do less weights. I'm thinking more Bev Friends since 1987. That's the look that I want to go for. More sleek, slimline, more feminine look. I feel like the Arnold was the biggest, most masculine. Just it was the Godzilla look for me. Okay, we did that. We went there. Now I want to see the opposite. Now it's time to bring out. Oh, well, Miss Pretty, Miss. We can do both because I encompass all.
Well, I remember Beth Francis from that 87, but then in 91, her last Miss Olympia, she came in, like when she came into the bodybuilding world, she was a monster. And when she left it like a monster. That was her, to me, 91 was her probably her best look. I feel like she should have won that year, but we all know that it was going towards, it was 90, yeah, it was going towards Linda Murray, who had a very streamlined, feminine look. I think that's the idea they back. That's what they back the idea of women's physique was Linda Murray because she had a great line, a great look, very feminine and very aesthetic. I'm a fan of Miss Murray, and she's one of the top women in the sport. And I'm also a fan of Beth Francis. She's a woman that really changed the sport when it came to women. We have here a comment again from my man Black Panther. As you know, I got to put on my little old man glasses. He says this. He says, "I ignore the haters and block negativity when it comes to participating in bodybuilding, uh, CrossFit, and Chinese martial arts." All right, thank you. Also, he says this. He says, "Bev is the greatest." I agree. And also, he says this. Linda Murray is the greatest. Also, yes, those are some great ladies. I mean, I've been following about it for a long time. People like Corey Everson, Richard McLesh, and
Yeah,
Carla Dunlap, and some Mary. This is
yeah,
like,
just
I
watching her.
mean,
I've watched a couple of her performances, and I know that they used to complain about her dancing more in her routines, but honestly, I really felt like her routines were so entertaining and I mean, just really dynamic. And I think that we should bring stuff. I see it like, especially in last year at nationals in Irvine, Texas. Those group of women, women's bodybuilding, that group was phenomenal. Don't you think? Their muscles and just the development and the posing was outstanding. I was really impressed by nationals last year in Texas. I thought that they were all really outstanding. And I want to say, wait a minute, George, but I want to say that Nina looked absolutely amazing when we were standing backstage. Honestly, when I saw her, I was like, well, I didn't know that she was there. I was like, oh. And they had to tell me that she was gonna be there. I wouldn't even came. I would have just went ahead and I didn't know, you know. And it was like it's just like came out of nowhere. Like, and this is like what happens when you go to North Americans. This is they got like a trap door for competitors and shit. And she came. I was on the stage, you know, with the older ladies because I'm in the older lady group, and I'm like, oh, I might be able to do something this time. I'm like, because last time I went to North Americans, you know, I got dead last. The only chick that got below me, she didn't even show up. So after bombing out at North Americans the year before, and I'm like, okay, maybe I got a chance. As I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, I feel good. Then I went backstage and I seen her standing there. I was like, oh shit, I'm man, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's a lovely lady. You know, she's a proud Ghanaian woman. You know, a flight steward, a flight attendant too. She does that as a bodybuilder. You know, try to find the time because that's a very busy and productive type of job. You may not have time to sleep or rest, do all the things as part of the process of bodybuilding. And that's what people think about bodybuilding. It's like, I just pop some pills and I just get big, I get huge, I just got started. No, you have to be consistent. You have to be persistent. You have to be patient. You have to be disciplined. And you have to even, food is the most important part of the process. And especially, instead again, dealing with the addiction with food, but it's about the right food. You just can't eat any old thing. And sometimes you can't eat the things that you think is healthy. A salad is not enough. You got to really build up money. You need more, you need protein. You need a lot of stuff.
He changed my life when teaching me because I had grown up. My mom, she grew up really, really poor. And so she was really, really poor in Youngstown, Ohio. And so she went without a lot. And so she made sure she was a teacher and she made sure that I never went without. But on the opposite end of that, she kind of like let me eat, you know what I mean? Whatever. It was nothing for me. Like my, and I would tell my girl, I would tell her all the time the stories about what I would eat as a kid. It was nothing for me to go to McDonald's and be like, okay, I'm gonna get like two quarter pounders. You know what I mean? I'm from the supersize there, a supersize and a drink, and I would eat that. And I'm like 13 years old. Like this is like it was nothing for me to go. There would used to be this steakhouse in Cleveland called Mountain Jack's. Everybody knows they have the best prime rib. I would go to Mountain Jack's and she would order. We would get like a 24-ounce steak. Me, a kid, why am I eating like this? I would eat a slab of ribs. We would go to Mimi's and she give me a slab of ribs to eat and like she, because she went without, she made sure I never did. But it was the opposite. I think a lot of parents do that. I think if you grow up in a very impoverished situation, you want to make sure that your child. But sometimes you can take it, to the next extreme with it, where yeah.
We When we leave out the country, anytime we get to go to McDonald's, we go up, like to the next town over, and my mom got to do some shopping to take care of some business, or if I go on a field trip, we get the pleasures. I remember one time my mom was out with her friends, and she brought home this. This is one of my addictions, and I don't get to eat it too often because I try to stay away from this Chinese food. And my mom would bring a bag of chicken wings. Yeah, the Chinese chicken wings, and they were just, it was one thing, her chicken wings, but then this was something different. It was just,
And so, where are you from?
I'm from North Carolina. I'm like 2 miles from South Carolina border.
Okay, if you come up, well, you have to go to Cleveland. There's this place called Miss Kim, and it's a lady, an Asian lady, and she make wings, and it's the bomb. They are, I don't know if that's Korean barbecue, but it's really good. Indeed, they do make good wings. I do think though that you need to consume mass amounts of amount of calories if you want to be big. That is the secret to being large. The reason that I am so big and I'm able to hold so much mass is that when I was younger, right around the age of 8, I was given prednisone, and I gained over about 100 pounds within a matter of like 6 months. And so ever since after that, I was able to just eat and eat and eat, and I ate and ate and ate like that all the way up my whole life. So eating, and if you look at like sumo wrestlers, um, when they're young, they'll take them and they'll, feed them, large quantities of food and then make them go to sleep. So if you want to get big, that's the secret. You steroids and that's steroids are for recovery. So if you never
Yes.
You don't need to take steroids because you're not going. What are you recovering from? That doesn't make any sense. So the only
Yeah.
reason, I like, and everybody always talks about steroids, but all they want to talk about is steroids, steroids. It's like if you listen, if you want to take steroids, then take steroids. If you don't want to take steroids, but don't lead off everything. Oh, I'm that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. You have no idea what you're talking about. You sound ignorant when you say it.
Yeah, it's like my friend. I got friends who tell me this. That George, if they are on the cycle I am, but they don't follow the same plan, follow the same diet, stick to the same workout, they're not going to look like what I look like. They're going to look like shit because there's guys who are taking the same stuff but not doing the same thing that they're doing, like rest, recovery, working out, eating lean, high carbs, low of high proteins, low carbs, all that to help the process of your growth. We got here a comment here. We got from a man, No Dose. If he's from shout man, he's from Europe. He says, "Hi to everyone. Hi to you." Shout out, man. Black Panther been sticking in here. He says, "Arwin has a beautiful smile." Arwin, I tell you this. Anytime I get a new girl out here, it's like you remember the episode of Chappelle's show when it's the one where Charlie Murphy talking about how the first time he met Prince,
Um,
and Prince was hanging out with this guy named Nikki Free, who's with Shalimar, and
she's a
then
girl.
yeah, they thought with a girl, but say, Prince, Shalimar got a new girl. He found the motherfucker. He said, George got a new girl. She found the motherfucker. This is how these guys act. They act like Nikki Free from Shalimar. Say, Orange is a new girl. She found the motherfucker. So these guys get excited. We got here a comment from a man, a giver man, Panthers. Thank you for sticking in, brother. It says, organic nutrition is vital for health and longevity. Bodybuilding is part of organic nutrition. Yeah, I appreciate that. Also, this is from a man, Noto says, did she ever compete in Europe? So you haven't ever? Yeah. Yeah.
I've never left the United States. Well, I've been to Canada, and that was fun. I went and seen the Phantom of the Opera. That was really good. I like operas a lot. But no, that's the only place I've been. I've been. I've been to Mexico. I went to Tijuana. And that was. I don't know if that really counts as going to Mexico though. That's just walking across the bridge and being like, oh hey, we're gonna buy some tequila and then we left. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I said, man, I'm a country boy. Only been to a handful of places. I've been to Florida a couple of times, and I've been to Atlanta. I got a niece up there in Atlanta. I visited Georgia, Virginia, but I've never been on a plane before. I don't know what love is, man. But sorry, I'm just, just
No, because you said you go out of the country. I'm like, you don't be on the plane.
never. I never been on a plane in my life. I'm telling you, man, I'm 51 years old. I've never been on a plane.
We're gonna have to get you on the plane. Why you don't get on?
I'm like this. I feel like Mr. T. Remember Mr. T from the AT? Hey, fool! Don't put. I'm kind of nervous about those things, but I was thinking about it. I was actually thinking about. I'm planning to go to the show in a couple of months. I was thinking about going to the plane, but now with the prices of everything going up, and
Wait,
yeah,
wait.
so I'll probably go take a train. I'm gonna have to leave a little date earlier. I did it before. When I went to my first.
Taking trains pretty soon. I have to get that call back out. Okay, we're gonna have to get them steam engines. We're gonna have to get.
Well, I remember my mom said when you used to get around with a horse or a mule or something, that's. But I don't got a place to put a horse or a mule at, and I got to buy hay. That's expensive too. Folks, well, we got Arwin here. What we'll do is we'll jump to her social media for a little bit. If you want to follow her, you want to check her out and support her path as a bodybuilder, reach out and genuine interest. The links are in the description of this live. But guys, she's a lovely lady. She's sitting here. You can see a peek a bit of her pecs. So it look like it all oiled up. But just yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Whoa, sit on here. Oh. Okay. Oh. I feel a little tingle somewhere. So, so guys, if you do follow her, you do support her, reach out in genuine interest. Don't be that weird guy. Don't be that guy say, hey, I sent you something in your DMs. And it's look like a thumb.
Please don't have me open up videos and it's you finishing. At least give me some type of, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Do you think what if you just opened up an email and it was just me farting? I mean, some of you might like that, but seriously.
I'll tell you a true story. A friend of mine, we were on IG Live once. We were talking back and forth. And then somebody came in. I thought somebody she'd know. So we were talking, and then the guy just in the middle of the live, dropped his pant and pulled out his dick. I, I've heard about this shit, and then to see it firsthand. I played football. I took showers with guys. I seen guys naked, but I don't want to see that shit myself either. So come on, guys,
But
be
this
respectful.
probably wasn't even nothing worth looking at. If you're gonna pull it out, at least please be a 10. Please be a 10. Please be something.
I,
Please looking
I
at
think
it.
he was a 4.5.
No, no.
So, folks, I'm gonna jump in here to her IG. You want to follow the link to the description, and here she is, the lovely Miss Arwin. And who's this gentleman right here? This is like happy birthday. Who's that?
Lady, that is my friend Michelle Binka. That is a lady. That is
Oh,
me.
and this is from 2025. And what was the critique from the judges at the North Americans?
Can I tell you something honestly? I have
Yeah,
never
go
talked.
ahead.
I have never talked to the judges. I have never talked. I've been told things. Messages have ways of making their way to you. And so I have been told things. I have been told that the posing, I need to work on the posing. I need to tighten up. Suit, just little things. Essentially, it's a look, and I can do that. Essentially, I need to fit the look. You
Who's
understand?
this lovely lady right here?
Oh, that's my mom.
Ah, and sometimes we say this: "You're just as pretty as your mama."
Fitting image of Esther, indeed.
Yeah, and here she is. This is from, I believe, this is from when you were at the Auto Classic, a little video. We play it for y'all.
I was up this morning, it just kind of hit me the last few days, just thinking about everything. And I've just been down and depressed and everything that's going on in the world, man. And then it was just like, I was watching something and someone had mentioned being delusionally optimistic, being delusionally uh, optimistic that, no matter that all these horrible things, in my life, man, I didn't, I done been through some things. I don't even know where to start. I don't even, from working construction and, going through an apprenticeship and having people just fucking shit on you and shit on your aspirations and put roadblocks up every chance that they get trying to stop you from achieving things in life, man, and going to college and being in classes and having teachers tell you that you use too big of words and, that you need to be put in your place, that you need to be at a certain level, because you're a black woman, because you're black, and on top of that, you're a woman. On top of that, you're fucking fat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even my own fucking mom. My mom fucking fucked me out of $100,000. You know what I'm saying? I had to find out that my father died by fucking looking on the internet. You understand me? I have nothing. I have no one. You know? But then bodybuilding came into my life, and that's how I know that I'm going to be a professional bodybuilder. I'm not going to let nobody stop me, no matter fucking what. I don't care how hard, how long it takes, how hard. I have nothing else. I have nothing else. So I'm delusionally optimistic that a fucking former 260-pound black woman is going to be is a professional fucking bodybuilder. I'm fucking delusionally optimistic that this is going to occur in the near fucking future. It's not a dream. And I want for you to have that same fucking thought, for you to be delusionally happy, delusionally optimistic about your life. Because when we really think about it, we try to make shit, people want for shit to be horrible. People want for you to be down. But when you really think about it, you woke up this morning, you know, you have a roof over your head, hopefully. You have food, you have hot running water. You have electricity. We are rich, okay? I am wealthy, and I have an abundance of love, okay? So today, I want you to get up and shake that shit off and remember to be delusionally optimistic. Everything is going to work out. In the end, you are going to be on top because you are doing the hard part now. You are doing the work now. I know it doesn't seem like it. I know it seems like you've been treading water for eons, eras, but it is coming. Be steadfast in your faith in yourself and be delusionally optimistic about the future. It's always darkest before the light. Remember that. Remember that. Make sure you keep shining your light up. Make sure you're ready. Okay? I love you. Bye.
Well, that's what it makes me think of one of my favorite quotes from Rocky Balboa. No matter how hard you think you can hit, it's how hard you can take the hits and keep moving forward. And to hear what situation your mom and with your father, your stepfather passing, it's tough. My father died a few years ago, but we wasn't that close. Here she is a few years ago, and that's a big transformation
So
from what you were then
from when I was probably
to
about 22.
yeah. And here she is. This is it's a video again, I think. This is from the Arnold Classic. And you say you didn't talk to the judges at that show, but what was that feeling for yourself at that show?
I haven't talked to them in any show. Mm-mm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But what was that feeling for you at that show? Because it was, like I said, it's a big show, one of the biggest shows for pro qualification outside the Olympia and Nationals.
so the only reason that I agreed to start bodybuilding was because Tia said that we could do the Arnold. It was the only reason. The only reason I'm sitting right here, right now, talking to you is because I wanted to do the Arnold. So being on stage at the Arnold was everything. It was bittersweet because I didn't get a pro card, but it was everything to be on the stage in the city. It was everything for people who go to the gym with me to actually see me do my craft and why I'm so crazy at the gym at 3 a.m. looking like a nut. It was so, it was just, and I would do it again if I knew that there would be competition, but it's a lot to get ready for a show, and then and not and be for not. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort. And so it takes a lot out of you. Every show, you get closer to dying. I feel like so.
Yeah. The thing is, this is an expensive sport when you get into it. Like counting the cost of coaches, the training. When you do a show, you might do two classes, or two divisions.
Food costs so much money. Food, just eating. It's the meat, the bulking. When you're bulking, eating. I eat in bulk. I eat 6 ounces of meat 6 times a day. So I mean, that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? So that right there, the food is a huge cost. I don't think that a lot of people factor in. And then the shows, of course, your suits, your hair, your makeup. Women spend a lot more than men to compete. But I mean, but at the same time, it's rewarding, and I've never been this like stereotypically beautiful woman, and so I would never enter into a beauty pageant or anything like that. But in bodybuilding, that's a place for a woman like me to feel beautiful. And so I think it's very important for us to continue because if I had known that there were women like Nina, if there were women like, there's so many beautiful women in bodybuilding right now. I mean, Andrea Shaw is gorgeous. I mean, like, what's her name? As I just seen her, she wasn't an taller, light skin. Why is her name now?
Sheena Olick.
Yes, gorgeous. She looked gorgeous at that
I,
show.
I'll tell you something. I met Sheena when I went to my first bodybuilding show in Savannah 22. I interviewed her the year when she got her first Olympic qualification in 2021, and I got to meet her. She is, I mean, she's a tall drink of water. She's a beautiful woman. And you talk about someone like Andrea Shaw. I want to say this real quick. My friend, her name is Eunice, and this is my new hat I got. She sent it to me in the mail just yesterday. It's from Bad Rap. It's the moniker is big and defined, ripped and pumped, and we guys just like the rip part. And she sent me this hat. And also, there was a couple of years ago, she got to meet Andrea at the Olympia back in 2023. And she got me this issue of Muscle Development. It came the week right after my birthday. And what makes it special for me, and this is why I'm a fan of Miss Shaw, that she took and she signed this for me.
Oh.
For me. And I often say like this, if you get it, like my other guy would say, You know, always say, if you're good at something, never do it for free. And that is my payment. When someone like Andrea Shaw, my friend Eunice, who gave me this nice hat, and she gave me some, I ordered some stuff, but she sent me the hat with the stuff I ordered. And because I got two hats. This one she gave me one was when I get to hang with her at Tampa. But yeah, there's some people don't think that women with muscle can be attractive, can be appealing. The mindset of the everyday person thinking that if you got muscles, you're manly. Yeah. I'm a man, and I might get bigger boobs than some women in bodybuilding, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's that. It's a shame that we've there's so many layers to it in our culture in society that it's a shame that men feel shamed if they don't meet up to that stereotypical ideal of what a man should look like or manhood is, and it's the same thing for women. The reality is that's what we're saying about the divisions. I think that there should be multiple divisions, and the more people you can attract, more people you can get to want to do something for their health. Because if you look around, we need that. Like, people need to, take care of themselves, feel good about themselves. Because when you don't feel good about yourself, you don't do everything in your life. It's colored by that. When I didn't have confidence, and I'm still working on that. When I didn't feel good about myself, I allowed people to talk to me and treat me in ways, that I should not. You know what I mean? So I have low self esteem, and then then comes out in the way that you treat others, and so if you improve yourself, work on yourself and feel good. Everything else, so I think the more we can get people into the sport, more divisions, more, it's good. And if a softer look is going to attract the woman to the gym, then that's what, or walking, even just doing something, especially Black women. We need to make sure because have a higher mortality rates for diabetes, things that are diet and exercise related, things that are definitely preventable.
Yeah. Well, my mother, she when she passed, she was like 70. She was like 78, and she had a history of seizures, and also she was diabetic. And I can tell you, yeah, but that what thing happens with, especially with a lot of us, life can be life. Working a job, taking care of children, and trying to find time to work out. But you can find the time, but you have to be disciplined. Not so much motivation, because motivation can change. You get one morning, it's raining, and you say, you know what? I don't feel like going out there. It's all wet. And it's just that you get in the morning and you are disciplined, say, you know what, it's raining. I still got to go. I still got to do what I got to do. Like you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go work out and train. That's a sign of discipline. We have here a shot to my man here, Black Panther. He says, rest, recovery, and proper diet is essential for growth. Also, we have here, this is from my man, Brooklyn. He says this says Arwin is an amazing at creating opposing routines. You can tell bodybuilding is an art who inspires your creativity. So, are you still working with your same coach, or you have a new coach?
Oh no, I've been working by myself. I did the North Americans in the Arnold. I did everything myself. I did the diet, the training, programming, everything is in house. And yeah, yeah, I do everything.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it's tough to be your own coach, trying to do everything. Because most competitors would like to have that coach because of the expertise, that second eye. Because sometimes you might miss some things, but
Honestly,
it's
yeah,
mhm.
think there's two types of competitors. Mainly, I'm sure there's much more, but in my mind, there's two types of competitors. There are competitors who compete for titles, and those are the competitors who are talking to the judges, who are getting coaches, who are, making sure. And then you have competitors like myself who are artists, who are people who are here because we never thought that we'd ever even hit the stage. We never thought that this was even possible. It's just a dream for us to even be up there. I have the aspiration, the dream of becoming a pro. But at the same time, I'm 46 years old. Like, this is amazing that I look like this at 46. I'm not going to feel bad as a competitor, if I'm in the top 1% of physiques in the world in my 40s. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter to me what they say because I'm winning just because I'm here. I won. It just
Well, there's a lot of ladies who are. I know ladies who started the sport in their early 50s. One lady, she competed for a long time, took a break, came back. She got a pro card at I think it was a few years ago at Master Nationals in her mid 70s, and she competed for a couple of times. Then she took a step back because when you get to that age, you can't do like you used to. Like your body, things happen. But here's the thing about bodybuilding: it doesn't stop Father Time, but it can halt him a little bit, it can slow him down. And that's the thing is the choices you have to make when it comes to eating, dieting, training. I try to do little things because you know what, I got two bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin's. Years of walking on up and down concrete. Concrete does not bend, and then plus being this size, it kind of affects your joints a bit. Here we got from a man here. Nodo says, "What's Arwin's the most biggest achievements in her bodybuilding career?"
Mm. I would have to say, though I did not win North Americans last year, because I went from dead last, and I got second in my class and then sixth overall. I didn't go to finals because I knew I wasn't. Nothing was happening for me. But just to go from that, from nothing to second, and to do it by myself, to dial in from, I was 155, 156 pounds on stage at the Arnold, and then I got down to like 147, 148 at North Americans, and I did that by myself. So that was my biggest achievement. I really felt like last season I built confidence in my ability to come up with the concept of what I want my physique to look like, to then draft up the plan, and then execute it and take it to stage. So I feel really good. I feel really confident for the next time that I get on stage that I will be successful in that endeavor. And if not, then I will attempt it again. I had the pleasure at the Arnold of being with a lady who had, I forget her name. She was really sweet. It was her 18th show, and she said, "This is my last show." She did 18 shows. She never turned pro. She had a great time. Sometimes it's just that. It's just having the show makes you get in shape. It makes you stop doing what you would normally be doing because you know that you have to. And also I want to say about the older competitors, make no mistake, the 55-year-old women will kick. I think the woman that beat me was 60. They will kick your ass. They are retired. They don't have anything. This is what they are dead serious with it. They are going to be cutthroat to you backstage. They're not you know what I mean? That same, like, they were moms, and they're professionals, they're nurses, and so they're like really driven women. And all that energy now was in competition. I'm telling you, the older, I feel like the younger women are much more chill when you're around them. But the older women backstage, you better watch out.
They came from a generation where work and hard work and ethics builds character. I'm not too far from that because, like I said, I'm going to be 52 in November, and my family, we grew up real poor. We didn't have running water in the house for a long time. We had outhouse. We had to chop our wood. We had a gas heater. My mom used to, I learned from that from growing up. I mean, like myself, I don't have kids, but I see the point where you have that time when your kids are growing up. They don't depend on you much anymore. Every now and then you say, "Mom, can I borrow a few bucks?" Something like that. But you have the free time to focus on you now. You don't have responsibilities, especially if you're semi-retired, where you don't have to go into work. Work a 40-hour week or 50-hour weeks, depending on what kind of job you got. And you have that time to invest into building yourself. Here we got a comment from my man No Doses says, "What's her regular job besides bodybuilding?"
I process disability claims. I get cussed out all day for a living.
Well, I can cuss you out because, hey, I get disability. I'd like to thank you for okaying my claim.
I'm like, you in Ohio, you be calling me, cussing me out, that you ain't get your check. I'm like, I don't have nothing to do with that though.
No, that's why you should, like, I my check, I do direct deposit, so it's simple. I know a lot of old people still believe in no fast. They want a paper check, but hey, if you lose that paper check, once
Hey, you know that, right?
Hmm?
They're doing away with paper checks altogether.
Yeah, I think that's why they focus more because everything's going digital. Like, I don't even carry cash that much. Other than when I go to laundromat, you still got machines that takes, that's yeah. Cash is becoming everything's switch over to direct deposit and credit and stuff like that now. Like Cash App, like my sister's birthday, I send her money through a Cash App. I usually just put a card and give it to you, but hey, just send the Cash App.
It's a new world.
Yeah, it's the thing. You have to adapt to the new world. Shout out to my man here. My man, Panther says this says, Let no one stop you from achieving your goal. Music, bodybuilding, or chef, whatever you career path is, go get it. Always have faith and belief in yourself. Also, a man here, Brooklyn says, uh, love this look. Yeah, he's a fan of it. And also, one more from a man, Panther. He says, Alwyn, you have a great look. Stay strong and God bless. Thank you, brother, for coming through. So, you're taking this time off. You're working on, building yourself. You know, what do you feel as a competitor would you need to really get to that next level, to get you to that point where you know what, it's my time. I'm finally going to be turning pro.
This is my time. This is my time. Right now, the only thing that I'm doing is refining. The product is ready. It's just a matter of getting off this last little bit. But that look at North Americans, that's a winning look. That's a pro look. I don't care what anybody says. That was a pro look, and it wasn't my day, but my day will come, and it's close. It's definitely close. I don't have any doubt in that. In fact, this us doing this right here, this is a manifestation. I had this vision that I would be speaking with someone like you, and that we would disseminate information about bodybuilding, and that would bring more people into the fold, and that there would be an opportunity that's spurned from this moment right here. All this is already written. You were already a part of my plan, and I'm appreciative for you for sharing this with me.
Golly, man, you use those big refined city words. I feel so. Oh well, those big words, I got to understand them, man. But man, for me, it's a pleasure to talk to a lady, like yourself, because I'm just a poor old country boy. I got a small little channel, and just like I know I'm a shit talker. I'm I'm the middle son, so how family dynamic works. You're the middle son, you got to be the smart ass.
Listen, I've seen how much that you've done for us, and so that's why I agreed to come on here because I know I'm very private and I don't talk, to people and things of that nature. And so I want to say thank you truly for all that you've done for female bodybuilding that you'll continue to do. As we do need people who support us, who support women who are simply just, trying to their genetic potential. I'm very supportive of the male bodybuilding. I'm supportive of anybody who wants to reach, the best version of themselves. And if you were saying that you've been making some changes, if you ever wanted to talk, we can always talk. I would love to.
I appreciate it. I mean, a great opportunity to talk to anybody. Um, I say like this: when my son tells me thank you, I quote from my favorite movie, Batman Begins, at the end, where Gary Oldman is Jim Gordon says to Batman, "I never get a chance to thank you." He turned around and says, "You never have to," because this is when I started this. Because again, I was taking care of my mom. I needed something because you've ever known somebody in your family's been sick, going through something, and it can be a lot on your mindset, and you needed an outlet. And this was for me. I was a fan. I'm a friend of mine. He told me, "Say, what do you like to talk about? What's something that people don't know that you like?" And I said, I'm a fan of women bodybuilding, female bodybuilding. And I was just mostly just talking about women's bodybuilding. Then I expanded to other divisions and crossed out here and there. Like I said, again, I'm not a fan of fit model, but I've interviewed a couple of ladies who've done fit model because I'm open to talk to you. I may not like a division. I might think it's a bad division, but I'm open to hear your story, what got you started. And, for me, doing this, going around meeting people, going to a couple of shows and going to another, gaining friends like this lady here who I got to meet when I was in Tampa, Shanique Grant,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
lovely lady, beautiful sister. This one here, I look like I'm a giant bear eating a little baby. I got to meet Ashley Jones. She gave me a shout out.
You've gotten
Hmm?
you've gotten smaller. I can tell from the top that you lost weight from that
Yeah,
picture.
yeah, yeah. This is from last year, and this is me with Ashley. And then one of my greatest events was my friend Eunice. Her company Bad Rap. I got to meet David Lee Roth. I wouldn't get to meet that man in my life. I mean, the closest I saw a celebrity was like back in, I think it was 96, 95. I saw Al Trebek at Disney World.
May he rest in peace.
May
Okay.
rest in peace. Question is, I mean, I love that aspect. I used to watch Jeopardy when I was a kid. I used to get some of the answers pretty good. The questions pretty good, but doing this process, I get to learn something. And again, one of my favorite people, I always talk, we said earlier, we talked about Andrea Shaw. I think she is amazing. I'm a fan of hers. I think she's so beautiful. I mean, I got a friend, his name Big Keith. He sent me a picture one time. They were hanging together because his wife was training with her coach then, John Simmons. I said, he said, hey George, I see his picture. I said, what you sent me, Keith? He said, hey Keith, he's my brother. Get the hell out of my girl. I'm sorry. I forgot every time I think about it. I used to let it go, but every now and then it pops in my head because he said, George, he smiled against hands on my girl. I'm sorry. I gotta let that go. So, but yeah, this is the thing about bodybuilding, and people don't understand. This is a process of being consistent, training, dieting, and it's and even though it's a sport, but it's a sport where we go back to the fact is that it's not really lucrative if you look at it from a standpoint.
It's for you. For the top men, it's lucrative. But I would think even the men who are up and coming, it's not lucrative. It takes a lot of money. And for women, it's not. There's nothing. There's no contracts. There's no endorsements or anything like that. No one wants to be associated with a woman that takes anabolic substances for whatever reasons. So yeah, you do it because you love it. We do it because we love it. That's it. That's it's just that simple. You love it. You love the look. I've always been big. I've always had muscles, and I've never been small. So why would I do what I got to get what I want? Players Club. Do you know
Mhm.
that? Have you ever watched the Players Club?
Yeah, I worked at the Players Club. I worked at the strip club.
Strip club you worked at?
Hmm?
Was that the name of the strip club you work at? Was Players
No,
Club?
no. The place I used to work at called Reflections. It was, it was a little. It was only like a few miles from where I stayed at. A little wicked little place, and it was like in South Carolina. I got the job because I helped the guy out one night. His boss came to me the next week and say, "Hey, you want a job?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take the job." I worked there on and off. But yeah, I mean, it's like the quote from Players Club: "Make your money, don't let your money make you."
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is that I say this, and tomorrow we're gonna have a discussion on my Must Talk Monday. We talk about how bodybuilding is one of the most unpaid professional sports, and we go back to again that the guys when they get ready for a show, they do have expenses like gear, food, training, all of that. Women, I think the expenses you have is at show day where you have to, between not just worrying about tan, your makeup, hair, posing suits right there. Guys got to put on a pair of banana hammocks and boy shorts, and that's it. Slap on some tan, and depending on the guy, you either go bald or you slap some mousse on your head and just here on the stage. But show day is like it's
But
one of the hectic.
before show day, you still had the same thing as the guys. You had the diet, you had the gear, you had the coach, the training. You paid for all the things up front that they paid for too. You paid double, you paid more. You did it because you loved it, because you love the look, you love the pictures. It's going to it's a pageant. It's lights and it's cameras and it's action and you're up there with gods. You know what I mean? With people whose physiques are in the top 1% on the planet. I mean, it's the feeling. Like it's when you've been to the show, it's the feeling in the air even of just that energy. It's just you do it just like when you go to a race. At race day, everybody's there, and it's that energy of everybody at the starting line. Like, yeah, like it's because we're all here together and stuff, and it's something. I don't know that you pay for that experience. That's it. The motivation you to get up there and get that experience again, and go up there and prance around in your underwear.
Yeah, that thing is like when people we go to shows but don't understand that what it took you to get there, dealing with being tired, being dehydrated, being hungry, the training and everything. But then we see these amazing bodies up on stage, all great shape, all polished like Greek goddesses and gods, and
It's art.
yeah, and then
It's a moving statue. It's an artwork. We were talking about Small but Mighty. Is her name Sarah?
yeah, Sarah Bradley.
That right there is art. If that now is art and her genetics, genetic superiority for her to be able to get her legs that deep, to get that deep down and cavernous. The only other person I've seen who can get deep like that is Tracia. Have you ever seen Tracia?
Tracy.
She went to I believe it's the PCA. I may be wrong, but if you
Oh, you
go,
mean Tracy S. Ruck? I interviewed Tracy a few years ago before she left the IFB. Go over to Tracy, because I interviewed her. That was the year when she did women's bodybuilding,
that's
and
the
Tracy,
one
I mean,
where you can see every single muscle separated, every insert, every. That's the only other woman I've ever seen do that.
yeah, because now she's in the PCA. Maybe maybe she come back. We never know. But I mean, there's so many different women. Like I think one person that I think they always point out is if you look at the women's physique, if you look at Natalia Cuejo, I'm not a big I'm not a big fan, but
In her legs, like, and then whatever it was, but still, it just looked amazing. Just that perfect shape, the roundness of it, and just the way it's shaped up. I mean, she has an exceptional shape. Just Shanique Grant, though, when Shanique was in physique, Shanique had, I mean, to me, that was the perfect. Her physique was perfection. I
what
saw
what
her and Dana Lynn Bailey. Dana Lynn Bailey really influenced me to get into bodybuilding. When I saw Dana Lynn Bailey, I told the guy, I said, I want, not knowing that Dana Bailey is like 110, 12 pounds on stage. I was like, I want to look like that. He looked at me like I was insane. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like 200 or some pounds. He's like, oh, okay.
yeah, I think with Lale's interview, this was the woman to get them into it. But I would say this: Judah McCartney was the next level because she came in great shape. She held the title 4 times. She could have got more, but she decided to take a step back and live her life. Now she's had a daughter and she's living her life. Um, it's just every person that comes in sport brings something. If you bring a certain look, a certain size, we're talking about Bev Francis. Look at Linda Murray. One person that always gets this stink eye is Iris Kyle. Iris Kyle had a great physique.
Go.
Um, I think the one thing was if they feel like they didn't want her to be champion, one lady I got to meet who was close to the championship was Alina Popa. I got to meet her when I was in Savannah. And maybe if you feel like they could have saved women's bodybuilding if Alina became champion, because she had a great look, she's very feminine, but
Yeah.
that thing go back to the judging where if you feel like if you look at Sarah and some seen like I shared a video to somebody that says some people say she should be women's bodybuilding, some say she's physique, and it's about what the criteria is supposed to be set to.
But what was the New York Pro that we just had, right?
They're in Pittsburgh right now. New York was last week. Yeah.
So the New York Pro I saw, I don't think that I saw Pittsburgh just yet, but New York, I thought like the women's physique competitors were as big as not big. Like I didn't understand. I was like, because they got rid of bodybuilding, and then they had women's physique at the New York Pro, but then women's physique they're really big. Like they were really big. They were just really big. To
Yeah.
me, they were.
The girl who won the show, I met her in Tampa. That's Paula Ranta. This is Paula right here. Paula is just 26, about to be 27.
Oh, wow.
And this girl, she's still young, and she might be winning the Pittsburgh Pro later today. I think I got to check and see when they just did the prejudging. They just finished the prejudging for the figure, but I don't see about the physique yet. I want to check that. I was kind of disappointed about New York Pro. I used to watch that show. This is my thing. If you're not a promoter that promotes women's bodybuilding to shows, I don't watch you. I don't support you. I will talk about the show. I will do critique of it. But other than that, I'm not going to watch it because I'm a fan of women's bodybuilding. I want to see it have a fighting chance. It's the architect division. If it wasn't for that division, you wouldn't have fitness. You wouldn't have figure. You wouldn't have physique. With the exception of wellness and bikini, those were brought in. They were outsiders that were brought in, but they formatted to the look and the standard what is today. The fit model, excuse me, it's it's the divisions that again, I understand the purpose of it, but it's just going after a while, it's going to be like lightweight bikini.
Yeah.
It's
Bikini
just
light, that bikini light.
yeah, it's just to me, it's the reason to it. We have some comments here from some of my guests. These guys, we've been talking. These guys been wanting to throw their names in here. He says, "Shout to my man Nodos." He says, "Did she ever had a opportunity to end up in a movie or commercial?"
No, 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 not at all.
Yeah, because I think with bodybuilding, because it's such a extreme sport, unless you are a male, they usually can push you off, or a bikini competitor. I remember a couple of female bodybuilders with some commercials back in the day. A friend of mine, he interviewed Ray Holett, used to be Zap for American Gladiators, and she was in the movie Skin Deep and TV shows like that. I think because Hollywood's idea of women with muscle, like the debate about the last Wonder Woman, where she looked kind of skinny, and if you follow the comments, Wonder Woman, she's not at the level of Superman or Batman, but she still has muscle.
Right. But it's that's the culture, and that's something that like honestly, I stay in the house, like because it's just being like looking like you. I have to go out of my like I've never been a very feminine woman. My mother wasn't feminine. When you grow up and like I said, you're short, you're black, you're fat. No one, you're invisible. No one finds you attractive. No one's trying to talk to you. No one's looking at you. So you just disappear and you just go about. And so then when I lost the weight and stuff, and so your boobs go down and everything, you go ready for a show, you lose your tits completely. So it's like when you don't have any boobs and you have a bald head and shit, like you try to go, I go in the restroom, like, I'm getting accosted trying to go in the restroom. So it's like then you have to like expose your body so that you don't get accosted by people. But then when you expose your body, now here come a different whole another different type of hate. Now you got dudes trying to size you up, and it's like, sir, I'm just trying to go grocery shopping. I'm not trying to like why are you trying to size up with a woman? Like what are we doing? Like why are you insecure? Stop being insecure. Stop being insecure around women, around women with muscle. Like we're human beings. That's it. We're just women who go to the gym. Then people turn around and go, "Oh, you a fat ass." Well, which way is it?
It goes back. There's no win for losing. I mean, especially if you're a fat man, people will look at you differently because we get a little more leeway, but still we'll look at judgmental because
They,
we don't move as fast. Like when I was younger, yeah, I can move fast, but now I've gotten a little bit of size, and I'm not as spry like I used to be when I was in my 20s or my 30s. I mean, that's the thing. Society, it's just you get shamed because you get fit, you get shamed, you get fat. It's just no win for losing. You know, is just there's no real answer to it. But that thing is,
they
people.
nature to want for you to be at the mediocre level. That's how you maintain that. If you anything that's outside of that, just like in more close to societies like Japan or maybe even China or something. That's how you keep that hegemony is by having everybody. If anybody that steps on the line, they're punished. And I can tell you, women who with muscle are punished. We are punished for being different. And so it takes you have to take breaks. You see, I'll go away from social media for a while and then I'll come back and stuff like that. You have to take time to yourself. I'll stay in my house. I stay away from people. I go to the gym at off hours. You have to isolate yourself because you are different. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality of it that people can't handle different, and especially living where I live at. I need to try to move, but who can afford that? But I need to get
Yes.
out Midwest. In the Midwest, everybody, we eat macaroni and cheese and go to bed. So I mean, it's not like people, you know what I mean. So it's already stick out even more. It wasn't as bad when well, it was kind of bad in my opinion. But it's just
Well,
a woman with muscle is just it's odd. You just don't see that.
well, the Midwest is no far from the South. It's we have ideas and traditions right now. We just saw what happened with the gutted black people's voting. It was a little bit traditions and ideas like like especially when it comes to food, where food is part of like the movie Soul Food. You come together, everybody. Big Mama, remember they cut off Big Mama's foot afterwards, and
Exactly.
yeah,
And we were like Kendrick said, we have Popeyes at the repast. Indeed, why? We're just making sure everybody we kill. You know, what I mean, it's a cult. That's what I'm saying. It's a negative culture, and if anything, I hope to um, help people see help people like me see women like me see who were obese, who are obese, who I'm obese still, that you can, and it doesn't have to be drastic. I think that people think it's something. I started out just walking. When I get done with this interview, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna go walk when you can't, you were saying that you can't get up or get outside because it's raining and stuff. Okay, so you got up that morning and you didn't want to go outside because it was raining. If you have stairs in your home, go walk up and down the damn steps at your house. It doesn't, you don't, if you keep making excuses, nothing changes unless you changes. That is a true statement. It literally was when I was laying in bed having my hysterectomy, my ex-wife came in and she said, get up. She took it. She was kind of crazy, but she saved my life. She said, get up, and she took the needle and stuff. She put me on the IV. She said, walk. And I started walking. And sure enough, I never stopped walking. And here I am today. Shout out to
Yeah.
her.
Well, that's the thing about I never had I had relations, but no relationships. But the one true woman I had in my life was my mom, and she stood by me, and she told because she had to raise not just me, but my brothers, sisters, nieces, and nephews, and that's important. That she told me that this thing is a woman can never teach a man to become a man, but she can teach you what you need to do as an adult.
Mm.
And she taught me the things I need to do as an adult. I learned from man from my older brothers and my uncles, my grandfathers. My father wasn't much around when we were coming up, but yeah, we have to learn that stop using excuses. I know sometimes I use them, but then when I get into my mind, say, you know what, I can do it. I got to learn from this conversation I had, you ladies, learn to be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. We have your comment from my man Black Panther. He says this. He says, "Women's bodybuilding and women's physique are the greatest for women around the world." Shout out to our man No Dose. He says this. He says people say that who talks too much lives longer. Also, he says this. He says, "Who's Arwin's biggest fan?"
Who's my biggest fan?
I think she's wondering if who you're a bigger fan of, or you like we talked about earlier. I think you say you're a big fan of Andreas Shaw. You know, he's from Croatia, so his might be a little different.
Oh, I'm like, who's my favorite bodybuilder?
I think you might be asking that. Yeah.
Arwin. Arwin is Arwin's favorite bodybuilder. Arwin is the greatest.
So, and the name The Alchemist, because alchemy, that's a very ancient science. Like one of my favorite shows I used to watch when I used to come home from my late night job. I used to watch Full Metal Alchemy, where they show you the equivalent exchange. The only attained something greater or lesser value must be lost.
Right? Well, for me, it's spiritual alchemy, in that you start at the lower self, which is based in your ego, in the place of uncertainty and insecurity. And as you work through yourself, you make your way up to your higher consciousness, and that's hopefully where I'm on my way to. And you go through processes, doing shadow work in order to bring forth and move past those traumas, to be hopefully a whole person at the end. Indeed.
She's using those big words again, y'all.
I mean, alchemy isn't, come on. It's pseudoscience. It's the occult. Occult means hidden. People try to make it have more meanings than what it does. And that's simply all it means. It means it's hidden, that there's messages within, right? You read the Bible, there's messages that are encoded within there, for the parables, directions on how to live a better life, on how you can achieve higher consciousness and living, as one with God. One of my favorite passages is that when Jesus is asked when the kingdom of heaven will come by the Pharisees, and Jesus says to them that the kingdom of heaven does not come with observation, nor will you hear people say, "Look here" or "Look there," for indeed the kingdom of God is within you. To me, what that means is each one of us has a responsibility to live up to the ideal of godliness, to be our best selves. That's mind, body, and spirit. There's no reason for you not to strive to be the best version of yourself. This is all we have in this life is you. That's all that you truly have. What a shame. Was that Aristotle who said that? What a shame for a man to die without seeing what his body, the beauty that his body can truly be, what you can do. That's what we're making. Excellence.
Again, man, you amaze me. Yeah, I'm just a poor country boy, ma'am. I don't get all that, but I understand the aspects of, especially when it comes to religion, because I'm not a religious person. I have faith. I
Mhm.
believe in things that might be greater than myself. Like God is everywhere. It could be from in the wood, from has the old term of that even a camel can go through the eye of a needle. People have to believe in themselves too, and if you don't believe in yourself, like Rocky Balboa says, you're never going to have a life. We have here shout to my man Black Panther. He says bodybuilding is a lifestyle choice. Yeah, truthfully. Also, he says this. He says beautiful smile, Arwin. He says also my man Nodo says. Did she ever had a problem with regular people about her looks? Well, she talked about that earlier. Yeah, because people can be, jackasses. Because especially if you're a woman with muscle, because it can be extreme. Their mindsets of what woman should be. She be soft and feminine like that. Shout out to my man here. He says, did she ever have opportunity to end up in a movie? Oh, I think I already said that earlier. And he also says, who's your favorite promoter? So, you have a favorite promoter, you just like competing.
I just like competing. I do need to do better. I was told that too. Researching the shows and kind of researching the winning looks. So, for instance, in looking observationally at Pittsburgh, you notice the pattern in women's bodybuilding and in women's physique. Pittsburgh, they like you really, 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 really tight. Every single competitor that wins in Pittsburgh has a very tight physique, very tight. I don't know about men because I haven't really looked, but over on the women's side, from the figure, physique, bodybuilding, I see it across the board. They like you tight. Now, on the flip side of that, when you look down south, when you look at like Tampa, they tend to like competitors a little bit more fluffy. They tend to let you have a little bit more on you. So for a competitor like me that might struggle to get real, real, real lean, I might be needing to look to go down south and look something like that, as opposed to going to a place where I know that they're looking for that super dry conditioning that I might just not be able to get to due to my health conditions and my age.
I think probably it's kind of south, bit of the Midwest. The Nationals could be a good possibility because it straddles between the South and the Midwest.
In Tennessee, you're talking about junior nationals?
Junior Nationals or just Nationals.
Nationals.
The national championships. That's because Tennessee, that's the South, yeah, but also Texas like it kind of equates itself to the South a little bit, but it's closer to the Midwest, if anything. So it straddles that line between the South and the Midwest. Because I interviewed a couple of ladies who got their pro cards at that show, and I was surprised when I saw it was at least I think because I remember one year they had to take and mush it together for this one class. And the girl who won it, I interviewed her. She won both in women's body and women's physique. And then they had at least.
It was deep.
He was deep. I mean, one girl, she also did the Arnold's just this past couple months ago. Natalie Hayes. I felt like she was a little lean for that division. She did well physique. I think she could have done better in figure, but like again, it's up to where you feel like you fit in as a competitor.
We tried me in physique. I would like to maybe try it again once I can drop down and weight. Like so, once I get down, just regular being in the 40s, then I'll start looking for a show. Once I hit the 140s, I'll look. Then I'll start like a real prep. Like okay, now it's time to go. Now it's time to So that's my plan is to look at it that way. Hopefully to hit the stage in the 130. So if I could get down to in like 139, 140, that's physique. That would be a physique weight. So for me, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking at some girls off season who's like weighing 200 pounds doing physique, and I say, wait a minute, that's women's bodybuilding. But again,
I mean, but I guess what? Seemingly the younger women they can do things that But at my even from the beginning in 20 when I started in 2020, my first show was 2022. To now, I can tell the difference in my body. I can tell the difference in how I recover. I have to change the way that I train. You can just it does the age does you can train hard and as you age, but you do have to make adjustments because it does make a difference. Age definitely wears on you.
yeah,
So it's just part of it.
yeah, that's how it is. Father Time is he's undefeated. Shout out to here to Dorian Hammer coming through. He says, Hamer says, love your attitude. Keep going. Thank you. My man Black Panther been sticking here. He says, I never judge a woman's physical appearance. I always judge a woman's character. A good character is a woman in heels, is beautiful. God looks at the heart. You know, appreciate that. Also, he says this. He says, bad excuses equals poor results. And also, one more thing from him, he says, always be the best version of yourself. Yeah, especially when you're like that's the thing about bodybuilding. You have to really, really enjoy what you do because this is a sport where again, it's not as lucrative. It can be mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually draining. And I've talked to ladies where we talk about how there's not enough money. There's not a lot of prize money depending on the division. Not a lot of opportunities. Sponsorship. It's hard to get somebody who wants to put money behind you because they're looking for a particular type of thing, or you're not very social media active. But again, this is something about you and something that you're dedicated to and you're aspiring to be.
Do you know who won the Ironman this last year or this year?
Who know who?
Do you know the Ironman? Do you know?
No.
It, there's plenty of sports that are going on that nobody knows nothing about but the competitors because that's the only person that it matters to. If you want sponsorship and stuff like that and stuff, well, maybe you should have started off earlier when you was younger and became a professional. It's come on, this is a hobby. Let's stop. A lot of people take themselves and stuff way too seriously. This is supposed to be fun. It's like I said, I don't have a coach